Alyn Waller. I'm actually a senior pastor at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia. I am an executive life coach with CTEDU, and I've been pastoring for 30 years, and I had the opportunity to experience coaching when I went back to school, actually to sharpen my leadership skills. So I did a program at Harvard, and they gave us a coach. I never experienced coaching. I'd never had a coach, not thought much about it. But my experience of having a coach piqued my interest, because what I recognized being a counselor for 30 years, I knew these principles. It was just different language. Because I have a final degree in counseling, and so marriage and family counseling. And so I was like, I know this stuff. It's just different language and used in a different way. And this was beneficial for me in my journey of becoming a better leader. And I said, you know what, I want to pursue this and do this for people. Again, what inspired me was twofold: my experience with my coach, and then what I see as a need in my part of the world. So I'm very focused on helping newer or younger pastors, politicians, and pre-C-suite executives. And so that's where I think my niche is. I have been a successful pastor. I am very much a part of the prophetic tradition of the church and a community organizer and engage politics. And my most recent experience in sort of the business world language, what I think I see in life is a dearth of prophetic leadership and critical thinkers in organizations in that context. And so I have 40 associate ministers who have come out of my context, and 10 of them are now pastoring churches. So I do this stuff anyhow. And I wanted to more formally do it and also help other newer pastors. I try not to use the word young, because you can be 50 and new. And 50, you cannot be 50 and young. So I want to specifically come alongside of pastors, politicians, and pre-C-suite executives to help them on the journey of discovering themselves so that they can be more effective leaders in that context. My coaching business now is in its infancy stages, and I'm slow walking the launch of it. So what I have been doing for years is this stuff with the pastors who have come through our church. And so there's a group of leaders that I coach now, and I'm continuing to coach them. Some of it is paid, most of it is pro bono, because they come out of my system. And I am in the process of getting the credentialing or certification and building up my hours with them. And sort of defining it. I'm in a process now with a business consultant helping me put those finer pieces. My life has always been substance first, style second. So this was about learning the language of this and getting everything together and feeling confident in doing the business of coaching. And now I'm putting together the piece. I'll be doing a major launch in January, and really looking for people that I don't know to come and use my services. The vision for my coaching business is empowering leaders to change the world. And so that's literally it. Empowering leaders to change the world. I believe, everything about this year, everything about right now, we have hit an inflection point. everything from the pandemic to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of that. This is our 60s. And we're going to need leaders who are not just trained in organizational structure, but who understand themselves. And so my goal is to empower leaders to change the world. And that's the vision for Righteous Warrior Executive Coaching and Leadership Institute. I think you need to examine, well, a couple of things. Number one, if you want to become a coach, you got to examine your own why, and you really have to have a heart for people. The one of the big things that I've learned about coaching, you have to have intrinsic questions. You have to have an intrinsic curiosity that flows out of a love for people, because really, the strength of coaching is in asking the right questions. And that comes out of really caring about the individual. Because you don't really want to do this if you're just looking for a side gig. You really have to fundamentally love the species called human being, and have some fundamental curiosity that stems out of your love for people. If you're looking to work with a coach, please understand that you're not going to find someone to solve your problems or give you answers, but someone that's going to help you strengthen yourself so that you can handle your problems and get your answers. And I think that that's one of the big pieces, the rubric that I've worked out, because I am a trained therapist or counselor. I sort of think of three categories. Counseling looks back, pastoral counseling looks up, and coaching looks forward. And I try to help people understand, when I'm not, as a coach, going to be digging into what you and your mother went through. I've got the credentials to do that, but that's not what this is. It's not a deficit model. And so just kind of, so long as you understand what this relationship is. And I think our job as coaches is to understand what it is as well. It's not mentoring, it's not counseling, it's coaching. And as long as everybody's, designing the alliance is really important, because we've got to be very clear of what this is going to be, and you can get a lot out of it. But if you're not, you're going to feel like you wasted your time. But what I tell somebody younger, it gets better. One of the things that I've really enjoyed, because when you get up, I'm 56. And so when you get up here, you begin to think that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I'm excited to have learned new language and to have learned new stuff on this journey. And so you can still learn. There's stuff to know, and there's stuff to become. And I perceive, because I was there at one time, I perceive that when people are doing the 30s thing, 40s looks like the end of the road, and 50s seems ancient. And there's just a whole lot of gas left in the tank up here. And so being prepared for it is really important, particularly if you're experiencing a level of success now, because it runs its course. I've had a wonderful career as a pastor for the last 30 years, but I've almost done everything that my profession says success is. And if you get there too quickly, you begin to wonder, okay, so what am I doing with these next 30? And so that's been exciting for me to say, I found something that's going to ride with me these next 30. And so, yeah, it's exciting to get old. Don't be ashamed of the gray. I won't color it. I might buy some more if it falls off, but I'm not going to color it. Coaching has helped me to navigate and negotiate. I call it the midlife negotiation. It's the same thing that we've been talking about. You know, in life, you spend a lot of time ringing the bell. And at some point, you've got to stop trying to ring it and start teaching others how to ring it. And when you have rung it, you kind of think you can do it forever, but you can't. And there comes a time when you have to help others do it. And learning how to do it well, you feel like you're still on the field. And so again, I'm reflective of my own career as a pastor, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And so I want that for this next this next group of leaders. I have a picture that usually blows everybody's mind, is me sitting on Martin Luther King's lap. And I was 3 years old, and I've had that picture ever since. He and my father were friends. And so I've always had that picture, and it reminds me of what I'm supposed to do. And I'd like to think that for most of my life, I have done it. And now I'm trying to help raise this next generation to keep the fight up. And so it gives this season of life where you have more sense than strength. It gives it purpose again. What I learned most is that I can still learn. That was, again, I kind of got into this seeing the benefit because of the coach that I had. And I just finished a whole sort of immersion in myself with the whole business program at Harvard. But when I got into this program, what I realized is that the principles are kind of the same. So for instance, with the Enneagram, and are you a 1, are you a 2, are you 3? That's in our church, we do a spiritual gifts inventory, and there are 9 of them. And we believe the Bible teaches 9 motivational spiritual gifts, and they interestingly line up along 1 through 9. It's different language, but it's all the same stuff. And I learned that I can learn different language, and that I can still learn, and that was important to me. So that's basically it. And I learned that I can do some stuff on my own. The other side of this is I'm the pastor of a very large church with a large staff, and everybody does everything for me. And I had to do all this for myself. And even the development of this coaching, I'm not sending everything to my secretary to get done for me. I'm actually doing this myself, up to and including the LinkedIn page. I'm like, people actually have to do this. And I'm really doing this myself because I will retire as the pastor of this church in 9 years. And this whole coaching thing is what's going to go with me. And this really is me doing something, and not the whole machinery that supports me. And I'm learning that I can do this stuff. I'm committed to helping people. That is at the core of who I am. I'm committed to helping people live their best life, understand their best self, and I'm committed to following it through. And so in this season, coaching for the last 30 years, pastoring has been the main vehicle that I use that. In this season, the coaching piece is going to outpace the pastoring. And so I'm preparing for that eventuality. So I think what people would need to know is I have a real heart for people, and I care about people, and I put a lot of effort into helping meet their needs and helping people get to their next season, if you will. The biggest influence, probably my father. My father passed 26 years ago, but His pastoral style, his theological bent, his legacy probably informs me most. Mr. McIntyre. Mr. McIntyre is by far the most influential man in my life. I wrestled junior high, high school, went to college to wrestle. And Mr. McIntyre, and so I have to put this in context. Mr. McIntyre, I'm from Ohio. So wrestling in Ohio, fundamentally, it's a white sport. And I'm obviously not white. And this is back in the 80s, so it's a particularly different time. And so Mr. McIntyre was a black man as well. And in wrestling, there are a lot of things that a referee can just call. You know, he can call stalling, he can call holding hands, you know, anything. And it's his subjective reality. And I learned early, because of the time that I was growing up and everything, when I'm on the wrestling match, I was really wrestling two different people. I was wrestling the guy across. Usually the referee was white, and I had to know that if this match is close, he would prefer that the other guy win. So Mr. McIntyre would always say, Alyn, don't make it close. Because if you make it close, they'll figure a way to take it from you. And that has been my life story. To be black in America means to wrestle with the reality that systems at times will want to take it from you. The answer is be excellent. The answer is don't make it close. And so in all of my life, I've tried to show up in that space and not make it close. Be the best that I can be, because I assume somewhere in that relational nexus are systems that would prefer I not excel. And that was Mr. McIntyre in wrestling, but that has been a fundamental message for me for the last now 40 years. And I think that it's still applicable. I can't make it close. I have to show up in the space excellent. And I got that from Mr. Mac.